and welcome to the 4th episode of Rise and Shine's podcast reviews. Today I'll be presenting the movie It Follows from 2014. This one was directed by David Robert Mitchell, and it has a cast starring Maika Monroe, Gary Gilchrist, Daniel Zovatto, as well as Jake Weary. As for the reviews, it scored a 6.8 out of 10 from IMDb, and for Rotten Tomatoes it got a 95% from the critics and a 66% from the audience. So It Follows really doesn't need a ton of gore or jump scares. It's really the little things in this movie that make it so terrifying. Maybe it's the fact that nobody really knows when the story is supposed to take place. Perhaps it's the eerie synth 80s style soundtrack that has such a big impact. Or could it be that there's really no presence of computers or phones, but rather like some weird e-reader type seashell? Regardless though, everything is intricately brought together to have chills sent down your spine. So in It Follows, a sexual encounter leads teenager Jay to find out that she's been given a curse. She is being continuously followed by an unknown being. What exactly it is unknown, but the shape-shifting figure stops at nothing, slowly stalking with the intent of killing whoever is in possession of the curse unless they somehow pass it down. In my eyes, this has to be considered one of the most effective scores of all time. I know that's such a bold statement, but I really have to put that out there. It doesn't follow, yes, pun intended, the standard for horror movie soundtracks, yet remains one of the creepiest I have ever had the pleasure of listening to. And for it to be done with a synthesizer is really just nothing short of incredible. Let's just say I will really never be able to hear the final countdown the same ever again. So It Follows does not feature a star-studded cast, and in my opinion that is exactly the way it should be. Doing so in a movie such as this one really kind of made me appreciate each aspect of the film a lot less. In 2014, Maika Monroe was definitely not a household name. Although she did gain some more recognition from this movie, I still believe that the 27-year-old is immensely underrated. She is really likable from the start, and watchers feel for her as she's constantly questioned and doubted by her friends throughout the entirety of the movie. While the remainder of the cast aren't exactly as memorable as Monroe is, they all contribute to her really brilliant performance. So while many were not too fond of the last act of the movie, thinking it could have, ended in a more satisfying way, I feel as though it really ended perfectly. The way in which it leaves many questions unanswered allows for each individual to come up with their own interpretation, and a quick trip to Reddit provides some really fun theories, so go check that out. I do recommend that. For all the praise I have given David Robert Mitchell's success, I should note that I consider this to be my favorite horror movie of all time. Once again, I know, a bold statement, and sorry Ari Aster, not even Hereditary can top this one for me. For that reason, I give It Follows from 2014 a 5 out of 5. The music used in this podcast is titled Orbiting a Distant Planet by Quantum Jazz. No edits have been made to this song, and it can be found at freemusicarchive.org.